so lovely to have you, Saiyyidah. Like, I love having you, and I've had you on here before, but this time I'm here this week talking to certified high performance coaches who are very talented in other areas as well, but just really here to elevate frequency today. Saiyyidah and I, did we train on the same CHPC, certified high performance coach? Were we trained at the same time, 2014?
It was, we were, yeah.
Yes. So 2014, Saiyyidah and I both trained as certified high performance coaches. We have to train nearly every year or every other year, depending on where you're going to, because our mentor, Brendan Bichard, does not let us off the hook for a second, which we love as high performers ourselves. Why would we want to be let off the hook? So, yeah, it just makes it really good. So, hello, everybody. I am Nadine Benjamin, and I am a certified high performance coach. I'm a accredited NLP mind coach, which is neuro, the brain, linguistic, how we speak to the brain, and programming, the paradigms or the patterns that we set up with the brain and how we can stimulate them to work for us rather than, as some people can see, against us. So I'm also an international soprano, singing all over the world, and I love it. And I love connecting, championing, and celebrating people. And one of my things that I always say is singing is my soul, but coaching is my life. So I've been doing it so long. So today I have the wonderful Saiyyidah. Yes, that is how you pronounce it, isn't it? Saiyyidah.
Saiyyidah, yep.
Yeah. Meaning, and it means female leader, which is amazing. And Saiyyidah is an experienced coach and online trainer working internationally and across sectors. She's the author of the Amazon #1 international best-selling book, Results, The Art and Science of Getting It Done. Saiyyidah qualified as an architect at the Mackintosh School of Architecture in Glasgow and went on to have a successful career in local government, specialising in regeneration and construction, culminating in her role as a director of a £300 million project. Amazing. Saiyyidah is a fellow of the Association for Project Management. A passionate learner, Saiyyidah graduated in 2011 from the Mailer Campbell Master Programme and qualified as a certified high performance coach with the High Performance Institute in 2014. Her clients have included leaders in education and the non-profit sector, entrepreneurs and individuals in transition who know that they are destined for more. She holds 2 master's degrees with distinctions, including one in applied positive psychology, and is currently reading for a doctorate in positive psychology, coaching, and practical theology. I'm worn out already. You're amazing. Having coached and trained clients online for over a decade, Saiyyidah is an advocate of using the right tools to meet the needs of her clients in actual and virtual contexts. She's motivated by knowing that with the right strategies, tools, and coaching, the ability to seize untapped potential exists, and the ability to do extraordinary things is available to anyone. As I always say, everybody can. So Saiyyidah believes coaching is a partnership, absolutely, where she is the guide enabling individuals and organizations to gain a deeper understanding of themselves and to use that as a foundation to achieve in alignment with their values. Saiyyidah has travelled the world with her husband and 2 children before returning to live in her native North London, London. She teaches and coaches across the world. Oh, wow, that's just amazing.
Gosh, Nadine, I think our time's up. Like, that was so long.
No, but it was great. In celebration, like, we can want to hide ourselves and say that biog's too big or too long, but like when you've got someone like you who has become a #1 best-selling author, I want to share your experience. I think it's important. But let's get down to it. And just to say, as always, neither as Saiyyidah or I are psychiatrists or doctors. So please, 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 if you need that kind of medical attention, please seek it, because we know that not everything can be done with coaching and psychotherapy and other things. Other things have to have different means. It is okay, as Marilee said yesterday, De Villiers said yesterday, it is okay not to be okay, but it is also okay to be okay. So you've come on today. Oh, I'm so happy. Saiyyidah, can you define your version of high performance? Your version.
So I think for me, high performance really is about knowing yourself and then chasing the best version of yourself. Like, I
Mm,
can't define it in any other way than that. Like, I know there are so many different ways,
mm,
but at the end of the day, that's really the essence of what we're trying to do is understand who we are, how we want to show up in the world, and then kind of have an aspiration to become the best version of who we are
yeah.
and just keep chasing that.
Yeah, I love it. I love that thing of, excelling, and just to keep being and raising the bar all the time. And it's funny because some people think that, evolving all the time or going for the next level always means reaching for something, like, sometimes it's a step to the side, or a rest, because that's also takes a lot of courage and high performance as well.
Absolutely. I mean, sometimes actually, in order to be your best self, you need to stop.
Yeah,
And as you say, that is the most courageous thing that you can do.
yeah,
And I would maybe even argue that just pausing to take stock is
mm,
more courageous
yeah,
than keeping on going.
yeah,
Because when you're on a kind of path and you're moving forward and
mhm,
it doesn't somehow feel right to you,
mm,
it's a big deal to stop and say, I just need to kind of, take stock of where I am, work out what I'm doing next, and actually even assess, is this the right thing for me to do? I mean, it's a huge amount of bravery required to do that.
absolutely. So on that note, what makes you a high performer?
I don't know how to answer that question, um, but I mean, I suppose the thing is that I know that my time
Mm,
in this world is limited,
mm,
and I want to be able to do the best that I can with the time that I have.
mm,
I think all of the kind of challenging experiences that I've had in my life have brought me to this place now where I'm able to kind of view my landscape and say, okay, this is my perspective. It's worth listening to because I've had these experiences, I've got this knowledge.
mm.
And I think now that I'm in a place where I've got the confidence to really like share it without filters, I
Yes.
think,
Oh, I love that. To share without filters. Love that.
you know, and I think that is the thing that is making me a high performer at the moment.
Yeah.
Because before I've been scared, I mean, it's funny. I put up a post on Facebook earlier on this morning saying I found my dissertation from a postgraduate study I did 21 years ago, and I was like, "Who is this person? Who is the person?" Honestly, and I was just thinking, even the quotes that I included, I could have written that thing yesterday,
Mm,
but at some point in that journey, I just felt as if I lost my way.
yeah.
And so that piece about showing up and being really true to who you want to be,
Yeah.
I think is how you be a high performer. And that's certainly something that I'm now trying to do in all of the spaces that I navigate and doing it without fear. I think before I was always scared of the, what if I say something wrong? What if I do upset somebody? And especially when you show up as a kind of non-white Muslim woman in a space,
Mm,
it can be quite. But I'm like, you know what? I have something important to say, and
yeah.
I think it's relevant, and particularly given the year that we've had this year,
Yeah.
it's important for there to be diversity of voices in
Yeah.
all arenas.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to take on that mantle, and I hope that I hope that my creator kind of gives me the ability to keep operating like this and keep having that little bit of confidence that I do have. And if I can do that, then yeah, maybe I am a high performer.
You absolutely are a high performer. I mean, you've written this book called Results, and even the fact that that you spent the time. One of the hardest things to do is to write and finish a book. Even that makes you a performer, and then you've got it out there, and then it became a number one. I mean, that in itself is just wow. I mean, I'm just like, woo.
Thank you.
So, we're here to talk about clarity today. What does clarity mean to you?
So I think clarity is really kind of knowing who you are, what you stand for, what you want to work on, what are the things that you want to say no to, and just having an understanding of that in this moment. I think one of the biggest challenges that we face with clarity is thinking I've got to know what I'm doing for the next, 5 years, 10 years, and then all of a sudden you panic and you've got just confusion, no
Yeah,
clarity at all,
yeah,
or you're reflecting on your past and just kind of trying to analyze and sometimes even do that kind of forensic analysis of
yeah,
why things happened the way they did. And
yeah,
I think, some of that is useful because we
mm,
need to learn lessons. But
yeah.
the real clarity comes from just knowing where you are right now in this moment and having an understanding of what your next step is going to be. If you know that, actually, you know everything that you need to know.
I really love that. I really love that because what I'm noticing as an artist is, Saiyyidah, my day changes every single day. Somebody's postponing a concert or cancelling a concert, or somebody's saying we're back on, or don't learn that music because we're not too sure if that's going to happen, and don't sign that contract because we're not too sure if they're going to change the other law in this country or that country, or you know and what I realized is just what you're saying, is that I had to be clear in that moment for me, not to be pandering to what else is going on in the chaos, but what is good for me, what's clear for me. And sometimes that what's clear for me is I want to cancel myself, you know, or it's, oh, I'm willing to wait, but I have to make very clear decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got to listen to what your kind of intuition or your gut is telling you and not ignore it. And actually one of the things that I write about in the book
Mm,
is that, we understand the kind of emotions and what our heart is telling us and we understand the logic, but
mm,
sometimes we don't really listen to that noise that our soul is making. And the only way that I can describe that is when it kind of goes "Ugh," like this, or it's just that kind of sound. And what we tended to do, I think, until this year, is ignore all of that and just keep on going. Whereas 2020 has given us that space to pay attention to that. And there's just so much knowledge within that kind of sound or that undescribable feeling that's just saying, you've got to pause and listen to it in a different way.
love that. Pause and listen to it in a different way. Love
And
it.
I think when you do that, you get new information
Mm,
which you might not have had otherwise. And actually you may end up making a different decision, but it's a better one for you
yeah.
because you're looking at it from a number of different perspectives.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I really, oh my gosh, it's so exciting to hear that, to pause so you can look at things in a different way. Because I think lots of people look at pause, Saida, as if they're a failure, or they're going to miss out on something, or that they're slowing down, or that they're going to lose something in some way. But it's not true.
It really isn't true. If you just keep on going at the speed that you think that you should be going at, you're going
Mm,
to burn out.
yeah. Yeah.
And if you don't burn out,
Mm,
you're not actually kind of being deliberate about the decisions that you're making. And I think the thing is that we can, there's so many different analogies that I can use, but one that is easy, I think, for everybody to understand is the concept of the pit stop. or you're
I
going to
love
the
it.
right?
Yeah.
And if you do that and, you're kind of fueling yourself up, you're checking the system, getting the metrics back.
Mm.
If sometimes, I mean, how long does it take them to do these pit stops now? It's like 4 seconds, I think. At
Yes.
the beginning, it was a lot longer. The
Yeah.
point is that sometimes even a 1-minute pause is enough for you to work out what the answers are.
Yeah.
That said, sometimes you need a few days. You might even need a month or 2,
Yeah.
right? And the way that I'm trying to rationalize the kind of chaos and uncertainty of 2020
Mm.
is to think that this is here to give us some form of a pause so
Yeah.
that we're able to just reflect
Yeah.
on the things that are really important to us.
Yeah.
It's just a real shame that it's happening within the context of what is really a horrendous experience.
Yes.
But when you look at everything as a whole, there are bad things that are happening and really difficult challenges that we're
Mm.
facing.
Mm.
But there's also something really special about our connection with people, our relationships with people,
Mm.
even if it's across Zoom or across virtually. The thing is that the relationship and the connection is about your feeling.
Yeah.
And if you're able to build on that and focus on that, that
Mm.
still gives you clarity,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I think it's through that kind of clarity that you're able to have depth in those relationships.
Yes.
Of course, we could all complain about all of the people who are not going to be able to spend Christmas Day with their families. I
Mm.
mean, it would be wrong not to mention that tonight,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But there is also still a gift somewhere within all of that. And
Yeah.
I think it's about us searching for what that gift is, no matter how small it is.
Yeah.
'Cause if
Yeah.
we miss it, then, the other way to look at it, even tonight and tomorrow, is just it's gonna be so much more harder. It's hard enough as it is, and I really hope that everybody that's watching and listening to this is able to find even one atom of hope in
Mm.
the next, 24, 48 hours and cling on to it.
Oh, I love that one atom of hope. That's so beautiful. And, that atom could even be just a memory of something or, a vision of what's ahead. Because it's always great to have something to look forward to, as Martin Stiles has said to us before on here, So I love it, that atom of hope. We have to do hashtag atom of hope. I love it. So how does clarity show up in your life?
I mean, I think the key thing for me really is about kind of doing my homework, and what I mean by that is gathering as much information as I can,
Yeah.
and then making a decision. You know, every time I've done that, I've always been able to make progress, even if that progress is just ending a project or
Yeah.
stopping something in its tracks.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But the clarity comes from me knowing who I am, so I know, the values that I want to show up with. I know the strengths that I want to operate from. I am clear on how I want to try and operate in this world.
Yeah.
And then, for example, when it comes to writing the book or teaching any courses or even taking on a coaching commission, it's kind of like, you know, what impact is this going to have on my life? Is it something that I'm able to kind of really contribute to? um is it going to fit in with my lifestyle? And if the answers to all of these things are yes, then absolutely.
Yeah.
But when you don't kind of gather that information, and I mean, I can only speak about me, but if I don't gather the information and I don't make a decision that with that level of clarity, then chances are something's going to happen, and it's just going to require so much more work later on or bring more stress in my life. And so for me, clarity just does so many different things, and it helps to make decisions, but
Yeah.
also it removes an enormous amount of stress
Yeah.
because I know the things that I want to say yes to, as well as the things I want to say no to.
How
And I think
empowering.
You know, it's really important for everybody to have that level of awareness. It won't come overnight, don't worry about it, but just even knowing that that's something that you're working towards is going to help you to be able to have more clarity in your life.
Yeah, and the results the book that you've written, it has kind of like, oh, what's the word? It does have a master plan to support someone who has no idea as well, doesn't it?
It certainly does. I mean, I've written the book very, very deliberately so that it kind of encompasses so many different layers. So, for
Yeah.
example, if this is your first kind of foray into personal development and you've got no idea what you're doing, you can make progress. If you're running a really complex business and you're not sure which projects you want to pick, it can help you.
Oh,
You know,
brilliant.
and it took me a while to work out how to kind of come up with a method that has that level of bandwidth. But
Yeah.
actually, once I've done it, when you distill it down, the process itself is very simple. It's the application of it and the use of that process that's the key thing here.
Yeah, and in terms of, and I love the way that you said the application and the process of stuff, which again requires clarity. What am I going to do first? What am I going to do next? Has that been actioned? Did I talk to so and so?
Yeah, and you know, sometimes even if you didn't do those things, it's kind of okay. Like we live in this time at the moment where, you know, there is no longer the 9 to 5. You know,
No.
gosh, I mean, I'll give you a really silly little example. Like I've been meaning to call IKEA about something for the last 4 months.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I did it yesterday, but when I phoned the customer services guy, I was like, "I'm really sorry. I've been trying to do but life gets in the way because
Yeah.
things are so much more complex." And I think the message that I'm kind of trying to really promote in there is have clarity on being kind to yourself.
Oh, lovely. I love that. Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know,
And can you define, because I've been kindness has been coming up a lot recently in the conversations that I've been having with people. How would you define kindness?
I mean, I think kindness is lots of different things. And
Yeah.
so when we speak about being kind to others, I
Mm.
think everyone has some form of an idea of what that means,
Yeah.
right? The challenge is how do you be kind to yourself,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And I think that you know, the work of Kirsten Neff in self-compassion is
Mm.
outstanding here.
Yeah.
And I would say that the biggest kindness you can do to yourself is to listen to when your being is saying, I need some space, I need to rest, I just need to watch that thing on Netflix and not work for a few hours and not feel guilty about it,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
Those things are all being kind to yourself. At another level as well, I would say kindness is sleeping properly, is eating
Mm.
nutrition, right? It's,
Right.
it's going for those walks. All of these things, whilst they might feel like they're hard work, actually, sometimes being kind to yourself is hard work.
Yeah.
But when you do it, I mean, come on, right?
Yes.
But when you do it, the benefits are just huge, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And I mean, I've said this several times. I think I'm probably going to keep saying it until I die. You know, a few years ago, the World Health Organization said that sleep deprivation is a pandemic. We now know what pandemic means. And if they're saying that people are not getting enough sleep and that is the equivalent of a pandemic, we should take that seriously,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
it's not just about the amount of hours that you sleep, it's also about the quality of your sleep.
Yeah.
So, because it's Christmas Eve, if you're going to be up late and you're going to be watching stuff, then be kind to yourself tomorrow. You don't need to get up at the crack of dawn. You know, I think it's really about having that self compassion for yourself
Yeah.
and working out what is right for you. So, here's another thing, like have clarity on what is self compassion for yourself, because
Yeah.
what it is for me, it may not be for you.
Yeah.
And what it is for you might not be for other members of your family or friends or whoever.
Exactly.
When you know what it is for you and you're working on those things, that is actually one of the biggest gifts that you can ever give to yourself.
Oh, that's so beautifully put. I mean, if anybody's here and you want to ask Saiyyidah a question, please, while she's here, do put something in the chat and she will answer it if she can. But in this moment, right now, what are 3 tips that you could give to people? I mean, you've given so many already, but what are 3 tips that you could say to people if they wanted to gain more clarity in their life around Christmas time? Because this is what we're doing, we're elevating energies, aren't we? So, what would you say would be the 3 tips that you'd like to share with people?
So the first one is know who you are and what you stand for, right? I think many times it's easy for us to kind of say the things that we don't stand for,
Yeah.
right? But I actually want you to know what's important to you and how do you articulate that,
Yeah.
right? And when you can do that, it removes a lot of the chaos from your life, right? So, for example, there are a million different causes that are important to me, but there's only a few that I can focus on. And
Yeah.
so, when you know what you stand for, you make those decisions, you filter stuff out. And I think that helps you to be much more in service on the things that are really important to you.
Yeah, I really understand that one, in terms of that, for me, it would be connecting, championing, and celebrating. If I'm not doing those things, I'm not interested.
Right? And because you know that, it's
Yeah.
very easy for you to then make decisions about what you say yes to and no to, right?
Yes, exactly.
And actually, I think that's really important in terms of high performance because it helps you to have boundaries,
Yes,
right?
yes, yeah, absolutely.
So,
Nice one.
and the second one is what did I put? Know what your compelling vision for the future is.
Oh, nice.
Because I think that when you've got clarity on your future vision, all of a sudden you just have this really lovely kind of pull towards the future. And because of the way that I've worded it, the compelling future vision, not just any old future vision, but one that really kind of motivates you and pulls you towards it.
Yeah.
You've got clarity on that. I mean, yeah, of course, there's going to be days when you just don't want to get up because life is so chaotic. We know that, and we've all had them this year.
Yeah.
But you'll have more days when you're excited about your life because you've got that vision for the future. And
Yeah.
it's about writing it and articulating it despite all the chaos and uncertainty that's going on around you, because you can still be in control of how you show up in the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know what I love about that is that I love it. Compelling future vision. Would you mind if I just said that compelling future vision could be even the next 24 hours?
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, how do you want that to look? The next 24 hours, if you go to sleep tonight, before you go to sleep tonight, and you just think, it's Christmas Day tomorrow, and this is how I want to show up, and this is how I want to feel. And then you feel it in all of your body, and the smells that you want to smell, and the comments that you want to hear, and the faces that you want to see smiling. Even that, I love it. Compelling future vision can even be the next 24 hours.
100%, really. And sometimes I will say that, if all you can do is actually a compelling vision for the next hour, that's also cool.
Exactly. Right? Yeah.
Because honestly, I mean, like I've said this several times today, and I apologize for sounding like a broken record, but it is just so much chaos and so much craziness this year that sometimes, even you don't know what's going to happen in that next second.
Yeah.
Right. And so having something to look forward to in an hour is enough. It really honestly is.
Do you know what I did, Saiyyidah? I love Scrabble. Right, I love Scrabble, and I saw that they had an Art Deco version of Scrabble, and it was just, I know it sounds weird, but I just wanted the Art Deco version of Scrabble, and that is going to make my day on Boxing Day. I'm going to play Scrabble on Boxing Day, and that's what I decided. So I've got something to look forward to. It's already arrived, and I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? It's these little things that make us so excited and keep
Yeah.
us going. And you know what's really interesting about that is that you probably got a thrill out of buying it, right?
Yeah.
Got a thrill out when you received it,
Yeah.
and now you're going to get another one as you experience that game. And every time you play it, you're going to feel so much joy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You know, and it's just such a wonderful thing to do.
So
So, my number 3. So
yeah.
my number 3, I kind of touched on it before, but it's what's that one small thing that you can do to move you forward?
Yeah.
Because it can be quite hard to have clarity over long-term visions and long-term aspirations. And I'm not saying you don't do that, because I think that's absolutely important.
Yeah.
But the one thing that you can have certainty over is what is your next small step.
Yes.
And you know what that is for you. And there is no judgment about that. You know, like
Sometimes it's the washing up.
I'm telling you, I was going to say sometimes it's brushing your teeth.
Yes, exactly. Just like keep it real. Just,
Indeed. But then also sometimes that step is completing that book or finalizing the structure for that course. Whatever it is for you, you will be able to gauge it at your level. And just because we're saying, for example, even cooking a meal or brushing your teeth or whatever it is, that doesn't mean that you use these things as an excuse for doing something that is smaller than your next step.
Yeah.
Right?
I love that.
But also don't take on something that's too big.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you know who you are and what is right for you. Yeah. And I think, it's funny because in the kind of little pre-chat that we had before we went live, I was speaking about how sometimes life feels like we're literally kind of on a tightrope.
Yeah.
And I think that's a perfect way of summing up 2020.
Yeah.
But if you are on that tightrope, don't take anything that's too less and don't take anything that's too heavy. Just keep navigating it, because you will get there in the end.
But I loved what you said in our pre-chat as well about your children, about, that your priority at the moment is taking care of, I can't remember what you said, but they're something mental health.
It's preserving their mental health. Yeah.
It's preserving their mental health. And I think that's, when we're talking about clarity, that's exactly what we're talking about, preserving our mental health. And, and I love that you said that please don't be, swayed by the fact that we've said sometimes it's brushing your teeth or eating a meal. But it's also good for us to say that, because sometimes people think us as leaders don't have those days. Well, it's all right for you.
I have plenty of those days. Don't you worry.
And so do I. And the only difference between being a coach and being someone who doesn't have these skills is the fact that we have more tools in our treasure box, so we can take them out, know which ones to use, and get back on the horse straight away and start riding. That's the only difference. Or we have friendships and our peer groups that we pick up the phone and bust ourselves to and go, I need to just chat this through, and we change instantly. We don't think, I've got to wait 5 hours or 10 hours. We just do it. So that's the only difference. But that is the reason why it's really important to have a coach. It's a reason why to have someone to walk you through that journey, which is why your book is so amazing, because it helps walk somebody through that journey. And maybe one day they could be coached by you. Do you understand what I mean? It's really important to say that these little steps, for some people, what is a little step is enormous for somebody else, and what is enormous for somebody else is little for another person. We're so different.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, this is why I really believe everyone knows authentically who they are and how they're showing up. And it kind of comes back to that first thing that I said, right? You've got to know who you are and how you want to show up in the world, because the minute you do that, it's as if kind of things just start to fall into place. But I think a lot of times we don't have clarity on who we are, and because we haven't started with that point, and we started to make plans or kind of go off on a trajectory and not connected in with ourselves, that's the easiest way of getting lost.
And another easy way of getting lost, you've just triggered something in me as you were speaking, is to getting involved in this social contagion.
Oh,
Like, so when you're not clear, you've got a really amazing point there, Saiyyidah. When you're not clear, then you're drifting into other people's stuff or drifting this way. And so you get caught up and you think you've got no plans now, then you're in everybody else's plans, and then everybody else's plans after that, and then everybody else's plans after that. And then you just feel completely in wonderland, and you're just wondering what's happening.
And 10 years drift by and you're like, what happened?
Yes, exactly. So I really identify with what you're saying there. Thank you so much, Saiyyidah, for coming on and giving us, a burst of your wonderful clarity. Can we have a look at your book? Have you got it next to you?
I do. Gosh, I do.
Yeah. Yay! So Results by Saiyyidah Zaidi. Like, please, if you can, support the book and buy the book. And not just for Zaida, it's amazing. So, I'm still waiting for my copy. It's on the way. But he says it's not going to be here by 4th of January. It's in such demand. But I have to wait.
Sorry. I'd come and deliver you one if it wasn't for tier 4.
I know. But we have to be good. But, we're going to leave, you're an extraordinary woman, and somebody who really does walk her talk and who does deliver for yourself, for your family. You're always taking into consideration your family in your life choices. And I love that. I love the kind of mother you are, the wife you are, the leader that you are. I really, really, really love that.
Thank you.
So for anybody who needs to hear your final word today in this time around Christmas and around, what's going on in the world at the moment, is there any final thing that you want to say to people before we say bye-bye?
I would just encourage everyone to be kind to themselves and, don't push yourself too far. If you're able to safely kind of go outside tomorrow for a short walk, do that. Just reconnect with nature if you can. And, my kind of biggest wish for you is that you have a restful and restorative and peaceful next few days. And, all of the best of the season to everyone that's watching.
Yeah, absolutely. Merry Christmas to those that are spending Christmas this evening, because some people have Christmas this evening, and Merry Christmas to those tomorrow. I will be back here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. with Natasha Mark-Addis to talk about influence. So I wonder what that's going to bring in store for tomorrow. But for today, Saiyyidah, thank you so much for all your wonderful comments and your intelligence and your wisdom. We're really grateful for it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Take care from wherever you are around the world. Take care now. Bye-bye.